Hello, folks. How you doing? Uh, thought that I would do a comparison between religions because I've been saying that there's a cord that runs through all religions that leads to Africa. Well, we'll get into that today, you see, and we'll discuss, for example, the Kemite god Shu. We'll discuss Moses and Joshua. We'll also bring on Jesus and the Christ. We'll bring on Abraham and Abraham of the Hebrew tradition. And we also speak of Brahma of the Hindu situation. And we'll show relationships between them all. Okay, folks, and we'll start getting with that. So we'll start with Shu, the god Shu. He's a god of, first he was a child of the mother, okay? And this is supposed to be like negative force, okay? Now, well, we're talking about the double force, too. When we talk about these guys, you see, I said Shu and Anher, Shu, Moses and Joshua. We're talking about the double force, okay? We're talking about the child of the mother, then the child of the father, or as the God says about Christ, my only begotten Son. Okay, this is when the God, the young God, child of the mother, crosses over and becomes child of child of the Father. You know what I mean? When it becomes child of the Father, you see in these traditions, he's like a sun god now. You see. Children of the mother was often associated with the star type. You know what I mean? The first goddesses, okay, were star types. Oh, these are the ones who first set in heaven, in the constellations. You know, it was always the woman because there was no father. So these children of the mother, were children of the mother alone. Yeah, we have to talk about that sometime. Again, I've talked about it before in some of my other videos about this child of the mother business and the mother alone. Well, anyway, getting back to Shu and Anher Shu. Okay, now Shu is a force. We just call it a downward force. Okay, and we'll call Anher Shu an upward force, or the double force, down and up. Child of the mother down, child of the father up. So we can see Shu, if we can imagine, Shu coming down, all right, to the lower levels, okay, beneath the navel. And then we have Anher Shu. So Anher Shu comes up. Okay, now Anher is the character that we see that carries the sun on his shoulder. You see the guy with the sun on the mythology pictures and whatnot, bringing the sun up. He's bringing the sun up from the underworld. And that's where Shu went, because he's child of the mother, so they put him in the underworld. Child of the mother alone. Okay, so now this is the double force, but it has to do with breathing too. Okay. Breathe in, breathe out, it goes up. The double force. Okay? Now, we see that in the tradition of Moses and Joshua, okay? Now, I just mentioned the god Shu, right? If you look at the name Joshua, you'll see that the three inner letters, like S-H-U, spells the name Shu. This is a relationship, okay, from the Hebrew god Joshua, or prophet, whatever they call him, Joshua, to the Kemite god Shu. When I say Kemite, I mean ancient Egyptian, okay? So now, the characteristics between them is too similar to be really denied. Shu didn't cross over. And neither did Moses. Okay? So Shu didn't go to heaven. Neither did Moses. Okay? Because they were both children of the mother. Okay? So now, Anher, who is another aspect of Shu, actually, but he's like the positive side, so they say. Okay, Anher did cross over. I mean, Joshua did cross over. Like Anher crossed over. Joshua crossed over too. Okay? Because Joshua was the one who went to the promised land. Moses didn't. They say Moses was buried in Gad, down there near the winter solstice somewhere. He didn't cross over the solstice. The winter solstice. Where the days start getting a little longer. Well, Moses didn't make that, according to the scripture. Because the devil was talking to the angel about where was Moses buried. You know what I mean? So the devil figured he was buried somewhere down there. Down near the winter solstice. The dark side of the winter solstice. Not where the sun started getting, or the days start getting longer. You know what I mean? So, okay. So then we have the Jesus and the Christ. Well, we see it's the same thing. Jesus is the one who comes up. Jesus is the one who goes down to the underworld, and he has a hard time down there. They even crucified him or lynched him, something like that. But the Christ is the one who rose up or resurrected. And when the God says that this is my only begotten Son, that's the Son God. In the scriptures, the Son God taught them. Because the Christ is a Son God. Okay? That's how that goes. So now we see the relationships, at least between Jesus and the Christ, and Moses and Joshua, and in the Kemite system, we see it between Shu and Anher. Okay. Now, all these characters, these double characters, are actually two aspects of the same character. They're not two different guys. They were never human in the first place, but they're in the mythology, they are two aspects of the one. So the one has the double force within him, or her. At first it was her. The first is always the female. That's the way it is. That's the way it was. It still is, maybe. So anyway, then we get to Brahma. Well, I skipped one. We got Abraham and Abraham. Okay. Abraham was a child of the mother. This is in the Hebrew scripture. Abraham was a child of the mother. Okay. Same as Jesus. The same as Shu, etc. And the same as Moses. Okay. They were children of the mother. But now, when God the Father, says to Abraham, he said, I'm going to call you Abraham from now on. In other words, he's becoming like the Christ. He's becoming the only begotten Son of God the Father. And so then they start calling Abraham Abraham. It's the same thing. From the Jesus and the Christ, same thing with Shu and Anher Shu. Anher is the soul of God. The Christ is the soul of God. Okay? Abraham, the soul of God, and Brahma is the soul of God. Okay? Well, we go now with Brahma. We have Vishnu, we have Shiva, and we have Brahma. They're actually the same thing. However those folks do it, they are actually the same, according to the most ancient scriptures. Vishnu then would be a child of the mother. You'll find him down right in the underworld. Okay? Now Shiva, you see him on earth. They say Shiva is the destroyer. In other words, he's opening the way for Vishnu to rise up and to come forth and become Brahma. Shiva clears the way. They say he's the destroyer. He gets the debris out of the way so that this child God Vishnu, or the God Vishnu, can come forward. And then we have Brahma. So Brahma then is the son, or we'll say just like the Christ. He is the only begotten Son of the Sun God. Okay? The same as the Christ, the same as Abraham, the same as Joshua, and the same as Anher. But all these different tales and stories, they are, some of them turned into folklore and all that stuff. They are actually, they had secrets, formulas of the gods and so forth and so on. They just wasn't put there to say, well, yeah, that's a god. I'd mentioned formulas before. So all these cults have their secret formulas. They say they got their secrets, you know what I mean? They're formulas. Rituals are formulas. The various things that go on a ritual. It's a formula designed to evoke something in the membership, the followers, the practices of the religion. This is why I say people need to practice their religion instead of just saying, well, I belong to that religion. It's a practice involved. And until people at least realize this, they are shortchanging themselves. They are not uncovering their legacy that was bequeathed to them by their ancestors. Okay. So we see now, folks, a relationship between these individual characters or these individual gods. You know what I mean? And this goes to show that there's a cord that runs through all religions. That's the similarity or the sameness in all religions. Just see there's a cord running through all of them. So one religion is really no better than the other. It's how you practice your religion is what counts. Do you do the practices, the correct exercises, the rituals, and so forth and so on? Okay, folks, I showed my comparison. So good talking to you, and I'll see you again, and subscribe. Have a good day, and I'll get back with you. All right, bye-bye.